want to show you, I don't know if you've seen this one because obviously there are millions of these correspondence. So this is so mind-boggling to me. We pulled just a couple emails involving COVID planning between Gates' team and Epstein. So this is an email that appears to go to Bill Gates. Okay, ready for this? 2 areas where I am interested in terms of scope: domestic health and neurotech brain science. I propose these as deliverables. Please let Larry and I know what you think. Number 1, to improve access and secure personal health data, affordability access, blueprint or recommendations for a zero knowledge proof-based digital system to secure private personal health information while allowing access to digitally redacted personal information. Number 2, white paper on consumer health expenditures in the USA. Number 3, white paper and or recommendations on neurotechnologies related to chronic degenerative disease. Number 4, white paper on neurotechnologies as weapons in national intelligence and defense. Number 5, follow-up recommendations and or technical specifications for strain pandemic simulation. This is real, dude. You're calm. I'm freaking out. I've got one more I want to show you, COVID related. We don't know who this came from, but it went to Jeff Epstein, and it says, cool, I'm excited. Also, I've been thinking a lot about the question that you asked Bill Gates. How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? And I have an answer/comment regarding that for you. When can I call you today to discuss? That's February 4th, 2014, to Jeff Epstein, name redacted. Marjorie, how do we get rid of poor people as a whole? I have an answer.
Yeah, I see. This is where it's right for people to be freaking out. And why is Jeffrey Epstein the only one that was put in prison? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell the only one in prison? Like, these people should be on trial right now. Getting rid of poor people altogether, that's the most repulsive thing ever. And then putting all of our data, our identity, everything about our health measures and markers into a digital system is complete communism. That's like everything that we stand against as Americans, but even more so, doesn't it disturb you and probably everyone else that they're talking about weapons? They're talking about war.
Yes.
And but the main thing is it's about making a profit.
Yes.
And that's what it really was about for them, is how to make as much money as possible on a pandemic. And sadly, the reason why it doesn't totally shock me is because I served on the COVID Select Committee on House Oversight. And many of the forms and emails and the information that we dug up through our investigation was beyond anything I've ever imagined possible. And Anthony Fauci himself, when we deposed him, that man described what he called science. And I thought, this is the most evil shit I've ever heard of in my life. And to Anthony Fauci, and I don't call him doctor because he doesn't deserve to be called doctor. This is not a man that's for life saving. He is for killing people.
He deserves a jumpsuit. Yep.
And he described what he called science was creating viruses that make people sick and kill them in order to create the cure, to create the vaccine. In other words, playing God. And that is what he described us. And he described the whole thing with such pride. He was so proud of it because he deemed himself as a savior. It was like having he was a narcissist and has a savior complex. But you read it in that email, the same tone, the same attitude. And these people have been doing this. I would argue they've been doing this for as long as time. We're just seeing what it looks like in our lifetime. And I mean, we know that they go to places like Davos, and they have been doing this for decades, and they meet and they talk. The industry leaders and the politicians all over the world come together and plan the future of humanity. But the reality is all of them make a fortune off of it. And that's why you've got this extremely small percentage of very rich, powerful people that are all friends with each other. They all hang out together. They know each other's wives and girlfriends and husbands and boyfriends and children. And they go to parties together and they go on vacation together and they do really sick things together. And, but it's because they all work together to basically pull the strings that control the world, that control our lives. And Jillian, COVID was the one that like it wrecked me. It did because you probably don't know this, but I think you're great because I have followed you and others throughout much of my adult life. I've got extremely into fitness. I apparently am really good at joining cults because I got into CrossFit. And yeah, when I go all in, I go all in. I ended up owning a CrossFit gym, competing, like all the stuff. And Maha, I love Maha so much. I went no casein, no gluten. I've done all of them. And I really believe in many of these, natural ways to be healthy. But having lived that lifestyle when COVID came around, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a flu. And yes, flu's always, there's going to be people dying. It's horrible, but we know who is vulnerable and we should keep them safe. Right. But shutting down the entire world. And the part that wrecked me, interestingly enough, because I've always been a big Trump supporter, was Trump was the one that shut down the world. He was president at the time, and it was 15 days to slow the spread. Well, that 15 days turned into years. And for me, I acknowledged that right away. I went, this is the worst thing to do, is to shut down society. It's the most unhealthy thing to do. And but it was Donald Trump that did it. And then even worse, it was Republicans that came behind him and passed the CARES Act, which was like $5.2 trillion, that was the start of the inflation climbing. And I had a hard time because I recognized that at the time, but it went against my belief system because I've always been very MAGA, always been very America first, and just hardcore in that line, and supporting President Trump like I always have. That was tough for me, but we can't be honest with ourselves and we can't be honest with one another if we aren't willing to recognize that everyone is named in the Epstein files at some level and some capacity, and every single one of them owes answers to all of us, and many of them should be investigated, and many of them should be prosecuted, and they should go to prison.
All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking here.